Introducing a completely redesigned experience that you can sense. And that senses you. The new Dell Latitude laptops bring your work closer to you.
Welcome to Nine's Late News. I'm Michael Genovese and these are your headlines this Thursday night. Breaking now, parts of Greater Sydney underwater, homes evacuated, drivers rescued. Authorities right now urging thousands to stay indoors. Meanwhile in Perth, 3 people struck by lightning and Queensland braces as 2 severe systems brew off the coast. Team coverage ahead. 2 kidnappings and 1 frightened city. Chilling details as Sydney's crime crisis worsens. Accused killer Greg Lynn makes a bid for bail. His wife and son offer their support. Grace Tame hits back after Anthony Albanese calls her difficult. And new routes, new jobs, plus new benefits for frequent flyers as Qantas posts huge profits.
This is 9 News with Michael Genovese.
Good evening. First to breaking news. As we go to air, all of Greater Sydney is under a severe weather warning, stretching about 60 kilometres from the city's west to the northern beaches. These pictures coming in showing flash flooding across several suburbs, with emergency crews performing dozens of rescues right across the state. Nine's Madison Scott is in Fairfield. Maddie, what's happening as we come to you tonight?
Good evening to you, Michael. This is where it's being hit the hardest, in the west and southwest. Now, 80 millimetres of rain has fallen within the space of 2 hours. That weather system hit around 6 o'clock this afternoon and it has wreaked havoc. We're at one of these roads. You can probably hear the water behind me, a raging torrent. This is where one of the rescues has taken place. We've had 40 rescues, swiftwater rescues across Sydney, and we've had 450 SES call-outs across the state. Now, 415 of those were here in Sydney and 80 in Fairfield. And as you can see, this rain is not letting up. Take a listen to what one of the New South Wales ambulance had to say after the rescues today.
I've spoken to some of the locals here and they just can't believe how fast this water has come up, and like as you can see down the road there, the water is over 2 metres over the road, and so that's come up in the last hour. The veracity and the intensity of the rain here is quite amazing.
Just behind us, there was a family of 4 trapped on their car roof, clinging to tree branches here. And only 5 minutes away, an entire street was evacuated by the SES. They had about 12 residents get on board their boats as they waded through the streets that turned into almost rivers. And we spoke to some of the residents there who have had a really tough evening.
Our car is legit underwater. We lost everything. And the water's in the house at the back.
Now, this has affected major arterial roads across Sydney. Many road closures here this evening, as well as the rail network has been significantly impacted, and it will be a big clean-up for the morning. The SES we've spoken to tonight have been absolutely run off their feet. As we arrived here at this scene, they were off to another one. So a big job here this evening, Michael.
Live in Fairfield, Maddie, we'll leave you there and head straight to Yvonne Ardley, who's in Perth for us tonight, where 3 people have been struck by lightning after storms there. Yvonne, a lucky escape for these residents.
Michael, incredibly lucky for all 3 who are tonight doing well. The first person struck this morning was 78-year-old Michael Day. He was hit while walking his dog in Perth's north. Neighbours heard him yell and came outside to find his dog Messi dead beside him. But incredibly, the retiree was alive, but suffering from burns to his abdomen and thighs, while part of his clothes were ripped off and his umbrella, keys and phone were fried.
I think it's true what they say, dog's really man's best friend, because we really believe that, you know, Messi saved my dad.
An hour and a half later, Year 11 student Georgia was playing with her friends on the courts at her school in Perth's Hills when lightning struck a metal post before hitting Georgia and her friend.
I was just standing around the tennis court talking to my friends about the school ball, and then everyone's hair starts sticking up. Felt like I had just been stabbed with 1,000 needles.
Both the girls were taken to hospital but discharged later in the afternoon, while 78-year-old Michael Day remains in hospital in a stable condition. For 3 people to be struck by lightning in one day here in Perth, Michael, is unbelievably rare. For comparison, the last time any one person was hit here was back in 2022.
Yvonne Ardley live in Perth, thank you. We're going to head to Queensland now, where a system is lashing parts of the Sunshine State with more severe weather brewing off the coast. Lily Greer has more.
Well, rain records in outback Queensland are tumbling as days of rain cuts off communities and interrupts supply chains, sending outback Queenslanders scrambling to ensure they have what they need to get through this big wet. Birdsville has had its wettest February day on record, 93 millimetres, the wettest since 2010. This video of 2 British backpackers dancing in the rain there, racking up plenty of social media views. A celebration of a different kind in the northwest corner of our state, with swiftwater rescue teams saving the life of a driver at Doomadgee who had to swim through croc-infested floodwaters to reach safety at a sandbank before being airlifted out by life flight. Making matters all the more nerve-wracking in the north of our state, the threat of a cyclone sandwich. 2 tropical lows are set to develop early next week, one in the Coral Sea and the other in the Gulf of Carpentaria.
At the moment, those tropical lows are only rated a low, so around a 5 to 10% chance of developing into a tropical cyclone.
Whether or not these systems actually form into cyclones, North Queenslanders are being warned there is going to be quite a lot of rain coming their way next week. The southeast is also due for a drizzly weekend after what's been a pretty dry February, with the Gold and Sunshine Coast expected to see the highest rainfalls.
Sydney is in the grip of a frightening crime crisis after 2 shocking kidnappings across the city. A short time ago, charges were laid against a 16-year-old boy accused of holding a 53-year-old man hostage for more than 2 days. This is the moment the victim was ambushed by 4 men outside a tobacconist in Mount Pritchard in Sydney's southwest on Tuesday morning. Today, tactical police swooped on a property at Dural, almost an hour away. The abducted man was taken to hospital and is in a stable condition.
It's crazy, what? You walk down the street, you're going to get kidnapped.
So be in a car with a bunch of people you don't know, just to take you somewhere you don't know, yeah, very scary.
This comes as 2 men faced court over the alleged kidnapping and murder of 85-year-old grandfather Chris Bagsarian, with chilling new allegations revealed. For more on this, I want to bring in retired Sergeant from the New South Wales Police Force, Glenn Gorick. Glenn, thank you for your time this evening. We'll get to Chris's case in a moment, but I want to start with the latest case. What have police charged that 16-year-old with tonight?
Well, I believe the investigations are still going on, Michael. Under the Young Offenders Act, it takes a lot longer to process an accused person, and there are a lot of different mitigating circumstances where they'll need support people, and also there's a certain number of different rules in the young offenders what you can do with them. Because he is 16, this process may take a long time. So at this stage, there is no charges being laid, to my knowledge.
It is early days, investigations ongoing, but where we sit right here tonight, are you seeing any links here to organised crime?
Yes, definitely. Look, the way that and manner and what we used to call in the cops is the modus operandi of these operations where they're abducting these persons. It appears that someone else is coordinating this behind the scenes. And it's funny, there's a lot of common denominators here. Early AM, 5 AM, most of these abductions have occurred. The last 5 have all been very similar in the last 12 months, and they have taken the person to the Dural area. Interesting, some of the incidents that happened earlier in the year last year with the anti-Semitic attacks on Sydney, they found a caravan up there full of explosives in Dural. So I don't know what the attraction is up there, but, you know, it's a remote part of Sydney. It does have a history of, odd things going on time after time that I remember in my time in the cops. So, you know, there definitely is organised crime involved in this. There's no doubt about that. Especially, look, the one with Chris Bagsarian, they demanded $50 million for that ransom. So, you know, that's an incredible amount. And that's not just your average Joe criminal asking for that sort of money, Michael.
There's nothing average about any of the details that we are now learning on Chris Bagsarian. Some of what was revealed in court today, quite confronting for everyone involved. One thing the police are alleging is that the 85-year-old was subjected to, quote, a prolonged period of extreme violence. What do you make of that?
Yeah, look, you would know the facts like I do, that they have kidnapped the wrong person, and that came very early in the piece when the family who were sent the ransom had realised that they had the wrong person. So for the victim here, and I really feel for his family and some of the stuff that's been released today, so I'll be careful in what I say, but he would have been in a position where he was telling the truth to those accused persons. And the problem was they wouldn't have believed him, so they would have obviously tried to get more information out of him, if I can be as polite as that, and that would have led to him denying and so on and so on. It just would have been a toing and froing. The family of the original victim that was supposed to be abducted or kidnapped, they would be saying, well, you've got the wrong guy. So that everyone in the accused circle would be thinking, well, hang on, everyone's just telling you this to buy time or whatever. You could just see. So the poor victim, he's been through absolute hell, and I would believe from what I read in the court papers that they increased the level of harm to him to try and get more information out of him.
It feels like a movie, but tragically it's real life. Another detail that we learnt from court today, it's alleged that the pair spoke on the phone in Pig Latin, which is code often used by children. Now, you spent a lot of time as a police officer. What does a detail like that tell you about the accused?
Well, firstly, it would be premeditated, and they would have had to plan and practice their code. There's various methods of code being used for many, many decades by criminal underworld groups in the communication to try and, just diversify a little bit and divert any attention from conversation, maybe from a listening device or something similar, or a telephone intercept where they're just trying to make a conversation. They already would have precursored a code that certain words mean things. Pig Latin, it comes from the Peppa Pig series, and young children do use it as a bit of a fun tool. So maybe the two accused persons are one I know is only in his 20s, so they may have been around in their time in their schooling and learnt it. I just think that, though, it just indicates a fully premeditated operation, and there's an attempt to conceal certain information, probably about the people who have orchestrated this from the get-go.
Finally, Glenn, police are tonight still hunting the masterminds behind this case. Are you hopeful that they're going to find them and anyone else who may have been involved?
Yes, I know a lot of the robbery and serious crime detectives over many years, and they will not let up. Just one word for criminals that think that this type of behaviour is going to be tolerated anywhere in this country. It won't. And you're dealing with the biggest organisation in the Western police forces in this country of 16,000 police officers. Surveillance now is first class. Technology is first class. Every crime leaves a massive trail across the database now. So I just think that they will go after everybody that's involved in this, especially for that 85-year-old grandfather innocently taken from his home in a quiet city suburb. It's just totally unacceptable and abhorrent. And to do that to him, I hope they follow up every small lead, and the public need to get involved too. Very important. Public ring Crime Stoppers. No information in this matter is too small, Michael. No information. The littlest things lead to the big things. I knew that when I was an investigator. It always helps, and police will go through every single report on behalf of that victim's family to make sure they catch everybody involved in this. I look forward to the arrest, and I look forward to seeing people put behind bars, especially up the top of this.
A lot of people agree with you there, Chris Gorick. Thank you so much for your insight tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
To Canberra now, and the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, says he was taken out of context when he said former Australian of the Year Grace Tame was difficult. Federal politics reporter Conor McGovern has more.
Anthony Albanese claims he meant that Grace Tame has had a difficult life. The Prime Minister forced to backtrack on the comment he made on a panel yesterday after her supporters rallied to her defence. The PM saying, if there was any misinterpretation, then I certainly apologise.
Grace Tame, difficult.
I was asked to describe people in one word, and Grace Tame you certainly can't describe in one word. She has had a difficult life, and that was what I was referring to.
Difficult women have changed history over and over again, and rather than denigrating women for being difficult, we should be celebrating them so.
Anthony Albanese claims he has a good working relationship with the former Australian of the Year, but Grace Tame has rejected his apology, calling the PM condescending and an old man, even comparing Anthony Albanese to former Prime Minister Scott Morrison, and she had an infamously cold relationship with him.
Accused killer Greg Lynn could be out of jail this time next week, with his son promising a $70,000 surety to secure his freedom. The former Jetstar pilot's legal team arguing his time in custody has been rough and he should be released on bail. Here's Amber Johnston.
There was so much tension inside the courtroom today as lawyers for accused high country killer Greg Lynn argued that he should be freed on bail as he awaits his retrial. If the former Jetstar pilot wins his bid for freedom, this could be one of the last times he's loaded into a prison van. His wife Melanie Lynn was in court supporting him today, and his son Geordie is willing to cough up a $70,000 surety and a bed at his place for his dad's freedom. Greg Lynn's long-term lawyer, Dermot Dan, is arguing that media reports about his life beyond the case have ruined his chances at a fair trial. The well of justice has been poisoned, he told the court. The possibility of a delay before the retrial is why he believes his client should be granted bail, telling the court his time in custody has been rough and he shouldn't be made to wait while he's presumed innocent. The new prosecutor looking after the trial rubbished those claims. He said the courts have systems in place to ensure that a fair trial can be held in as little as 6 months, and he says the Crown case is strong, even though Greg Lynn was acquitted of Russell Hill's murder in his first trial. Both sides of the bar table got through all of their arguments today, so the next time we'll see Greg Lynn is next Thursday, which is when the judge will hand down his decision.
2 people have died at a Sydney hospital as the result of a fungus cluster inside the building. 4 other patients also remain seriously ill after contracting the infection at the Royal Prince Alfred's transplant unit at Camperdown in the city's inner west. The outbreak is potentially linked to recent construction at the hospital. From midnight, offenders aged over 14 in Victoria will face a tougher crime for serious crimes. Those charged with aggravated burglary, carjacking, home invasion or armed robbery will have to face adult court. The state opposition says it's not without loopholes, claiming some will still be able to return to children's court. Australia's national carrier has delivered a record half-year profit. Qantas selling new jobs, a new route and new benefits for frequent flyers. Let's now bring in Scott Phillips, Chief Investment Officer at Motley Fool. Scotty, good evening. Talk us through these figures.
Jenna, plenty to unpack and good evening. The Flying Kangaroo doing $12.9 billion in sales. That was up 6% on last year. Profit before tax at $1.45 billion. And the best part of $1 billion in profit after tax, their pre-tax profit was up a bit, their net profit dead flat.
What's behind these numbers and how did the markets react?
Yeah, so it's fascinating, right? You break it down. There's Qantas Domestic and Qantas International. Then you got Jetstar and you got the loyalty business. And what was fascinating is we got really good profit growth from the loyalty, the frequent flyer business, and from Jetstar of about 12%. The domestic business continues to be strong, but the international business, where most of the competition is, no surprise, actually struggling with earnings down a bit under 10%.
And the airline also unveiled an overhaul of its frequent flyer program. So what's changing there?
So lots of detail here. We won't make it too complex, but essentially a couple of really important things. The major one is they used to have the separation of frequent flyer miles or points, as they call them miles in the States. Basically, the more you flew, the more benefit you got. Then they started to add the rewards programs to other retailers and that kind of stuff. And so they set up this status credits. The status credit idea was you only got those if you flew. And that's what gave you the tiers, the silver, gold, platinum frequent flyer tiers. And that got you extra benefits, extra perks, more baggage, early boarding, all that kind of stuff. Effectively, they've recognised their loyalty business is really important to them. So now you can earn up to 140 status credits by spending money. So blurring that distinction between the frequent flyer program and the status credits themselves. As part of that, they've also increased the number of points you need to retain each level. In the past, once you got a level, it was kind of cheaper to keep it. Now, moving forward, it's going to cost you the same every year, whether you're just there or whether you had the same level last year.
What's driving that change?
Money. The Qantas Loyalty Division, here's this, $286 million, let me be precise, it made in profit last year. That is literally selling frequent flyer points, made them almost $300 million. Think about those who use them. Think about the Woolworths Everyday Rewards program. Flyby is a different airline, but the same kind of idea. in a bad year for the airlines, the loyalty business can be the most profitable segment of their business, and they get the value of it. So what they're effectively saying now is, hey, here's an extra incentive to spend using a Qantas branded credit card, to shop at specific retailers for being a member of the program, rewarding you spending on the ground as well as flying in the air.
Scott Phillips, Motley Fool, thanks for your time this evening.
Pleasure. Thanks, Jenna.
Still to come on 9's Late News, police open fire as a ute barrels towards a patrol car in the Northern Territory. And never-before-seen images inside the Weeambilla police shooting property as it goes on the market. Live on 9 and streaming on 9 Now. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back. There's been a shocking series of events on a street in Alice Springs. Police attending a disturbance when a Mazda ute slams into the back of their vehicle just as an officer was getting into it. Another tries to stop the ute by shooting at it. No one was injured and the driver was arrested. A chilling property listing has left many shocked. The Weeambilla homestead, where police were ambushed and killed, now up for sale. Never-before-seen images inside the home where a trio of killers lived, showing disturbing scenes and insensitive items.
It was one of Queensland's darkest days, and this is where it unfolded. 251 Waynes Road, Weeambilla, once the home of Gareth, Stacey and Nathaniel Train, who shot dead Queensland Police Constables Matthew Arnold and Rachel McCrow and neighbour Alan Dare. The site of the horror for sale. Multiple ads uploaded online of the 43-hectare block with dwelling and history. It's described as a large lifestyle block in a dilapidated condition. The rooms frozen in time from when the police handed the home back to the Train family. On the floor of the lounge room, a copy of Shooter magazine. In another, a gun safe. It was from this homestead the Trains fired at police for 3 hours on that December evening in 2022.
We'll see you at home, Don.
Love you. Before CERT officers shot them dead. The ad on realestate.com and Domain says the home is being sold as part of the executor responsibilities for a deceased estate, hoping for a quick sale to someone who will be respectful of the property, considering its history. The listed contact for the sale, Aidan Train, Nathaniel's son.
Isn't available right now.
The insensitive listing raising many questions. The families of Matthew Arnold and Rachel McCrow didn't want to comment. The Queensland Police Union had been trying to purchase the home to keep it out of public hands. It is surprising to learn that Mr Train has placed the property on the open market, as the QPU has been negotiating in good faith. The QPU is currently undertaking appropriate due diligence in considering the option to purchase the Waynes Road property. The Trains are asking for offers over $190,000 for a property where evil lived and 3 lives were lost. Well, I've now heard from Aidan Train, and he says he apologises for any distress that this listing may cause, but claims that the process to sell to the Queensland Police Union has been slow and he needs to keep his options open. He says he no longer wants to look after the property. As for the websites that have this listing, realestate.com.au and Domain, well, they have now removed the insensitive images, but as of right now, the listings remain live.
Stay with us when we return. Why Harry and Meghan made a surprise visit to the Middle East. And from clinkers to cottage cheese, how brands and supermarkets are cashing in on viral food trends that leave shelves empty. Welcome back. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex have made a surprise visit to Jordan, meeting with children at a refugee camp and visiting a hospital. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were invited to the Middle East by the World Health Organization.
On a hospital ward in Amman, stories of horror translated for the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
They shot me in my thigh.
The patients, recent medical evacuees from Gaza, the couple speaking with doctors about the scars of war. They were greeted with smiles at Zatari refugee camp, home to more than 80,000 Syrian refugees. The children putting on a toe-tapping performance for the Prince. The Duke and Duchess are no longer working royals, but were invited to Jordan by the World Health Organization, undertaking a 2-day tour to join a roundtable discussion. The aim, to support vulnerable communities. The couple's Archwell Foundation has donated more than $700,000 to support children from Gaza and Ukraine.
I look forward to continuing the conversation, especially with Dr. Tedros, about how when funding does come in, it feels ring-fenced, to be able to liberate that.
The trip is the pair's first international tour together in 18 months. In London, Mimi Becker, 9 News.
Let's get a hit of finance now, and looking at the markets at home, the All Ords closed in the green, up 49 points. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones is higher, gaining 307 points. A similar story in London, up by 56 points. Checking the Aussie dollar against the major currencies, right now buying 60 euro cents, 71 US cents and 111 Japanese yen. On to commodities, gold sitting at $5,100 US an ounce. Silver is at 87 and oil is buying $70 US a barrel. Viral social media moments are causing product shortages on our supermarket shelves, but the grocery giants are watching closely, setting up dedicated teams to capture the trends and your shopping dollar.
If you've seen this, would you believe it's being caused by this?
This is the viral Biscoff protein cheesecake.
The viral dumpling lasagna. Social media trends emptying supermarket shelves.
It's a constant battle for us to keep up with the trends.
Someone adds biscuits to yoghurt and suddenly the dairy aisle's sparse.
The viral Japanese cheesecake has gone a bit crazy, and we've seen our yoghurt sales go through the roof.
The cottage cheese boom, that one grew by 68% this first 6 months of this financial year.
Some trends less about flavour, more about a guessing game.
If this is pink, I'm going to bake some giant chunky cookies.
We saw last September Clinkers went up, they doubled in sales from the year before.
Social media used to follow foods. Now foods follow social media. And viral hits may start off organic, but make no mistake, supermarkets and brands looking to maximise their take of your shopping dollar.
So we have a team here who's concentrating on looking at what the next big thing is. They're working in our innovation kitchens. They're looking at trends in restaurants and around the world.
Purpose-built supermarket test kitchens now existing to chase and evolve social trends.
Off the back of trends, we'll develop products to match those trends. Shaker salads have just launched a viral trend off the back of that classic cucumber salad in the big shaker tub.
The next big thing, fibre, dumpling lasagna. That one has taken off in the last couple of weeks.
They're calling it swavory, sweet and savoury. I don't know if that's too much, but who knows, that could be the next one.
It's all food for thought. Effie Zahos, 9 News.
Former New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has moved to Australia. A spokesperson for the 45-year-old confirming Ardern and husband Clark Gayford have taken up work here. The couple, who have a daughter, have reportedly been seen looking at homes in Freshwater and Curl on Sydney's northern beaches. Stay with us. Your national weather forecast is coming up after this break.
Transform your home into a haven with cool, pure, clean air, creating a world of perfect comfort. Take your home to the next level with the Air Specialists.
Welcome back. Time to take a look at your national weather forecast now, and that satellite will show thick cloud over much of the mainland right now. A trough extending towards southeast of South Australia, bringing with it more cloud. Thunderstorm activity through much of the tropical north, and also thunderstorm activity over parts of Western Australia. Tomorrow's forecast across the country: Sydney, those showers relentless, 70 millimetres of rain expected, along with a top of 26 degrees. A possible storm in Melbourne, 15 mils expected in the gauge, a top of 27. Brisbane, also 27 degrees and wet, up to 35 millimetres on the way. Sunshine, 33 in Perth. Adelaide, 33 degrees, a shower or two. Hobart, 23 and sunny. Cloudy in Canberra, 23 degrees. Darwin, 31 and showers. Now, those showers continue through Saturday in Sydney, 27 the top. Clearing in Melbourne, 28 degrees. Brisbane, 29 and 4 millimetres expected in the gauge. Perth, 26 degrees and sunshine. Adelaide, a possible morning storm, some rain after that, and 28 the top. 25 in Hobart. Canberra, a possible shower and a top of 25 also. Some thunderstorms in Darwin, 31 degrees the forecast maximum. If you missed anything from tonight's bulletin, you can catch up on 9 Now. This is 9's Late News for this Thursday. I'm Michael Genovese. Thank you for your company. Good night.